Dear friends, today we will discuss about the important topic as rural leadership. In this chapter, we will discuss about the meaning and definition of leadership, theories of leadership, styles of leadership, types of leadership, and importance of rural leadership in extension education. So first of all, we will discuss about the meaning and definition of leader and leadership. Leader is a person who has been spontaneously considered or chosen as being influential in a specific situation. Leadership is a process of influencing the behavior of the individual in a given situation. Thus, leadership is the phenomena of influencing, guiding, and directing the actions and thoughts of the people in the intended direction. This is by Dhamanin Bhatnagar. We also discuss about some definitions given by different authors in their own words. First, we will discuss the definition of Donnell 1988. Leadership is generally defined as influence, the art or process of influencing people so that they will strive willingly towards the achievement of group goals. Second one is Alford and Opines. According to them, leadership is the ability to secure desirable action from a group or followers voluntarily without the use of core coin. Third one is George Terry says leadership is the activity of influencing people to strive willingly for mutual objectives. So, in conclusion, we can say the leadership is a phenomena of influencing people to behave in such a way that the common goals can be achieved. Now we will discuss about the theories or approaches of leadership. The different theories of leadership are as first one is the Tate theory. Tate means quality. According to this theory, leadership behavior is influenced by certain qualities of a leader. A successful leader has the following qualities, such as good personality, second knowledge, tirelessness, ability to take quick decisions, courage to face competition, persuasion, intelligence, reliability, physical fitness, etc. This theory was mostly accepted during the 1930s and 1950s. Next one is behavioral theory. In this theory, leadership can be described in the terms of what leaders do rather than what they are. In other words, leadership can be identified by reference to their behavior in relation to their followers. Third one is situational theory. As per the situational theory, a leader is strongly affected by the situation in which he works. Situation helps the person develop their leadership qualities and emerge as a leader. Fourth one is followers theory or acceptance theory. According to this theory, if followers accept a person as their leader, he becomes a leader irrespective of his qualities and behavior. In the political world, a person who satisfies the needs of his followers will become a leader. Followers refuse their leader when he fails to satisfy their needs. Fifth one is path goal theory. This theory states that leader can exercise four different kinds of styles: directive leadership, giving instructions to the subordinate rather than seeking their cooperation. Second is supportive leadership. This theory says being friendly and approachable to subordinates. Participative leadership. This asking for suggestions from subordinate before making decisions. And achievement oriented leadership. Setting challenging goals and assignment for subordinates. So these are the theories of leadership. Now we will discuss about the leadership styles. The way the leaders influence his followers are called leadership style. It describes how a leader has relationship with his group. There are mostly three basic styles of leadership. First one is autocratic or authoritarian style. Under this leadership style, the leader have full power or authority to take decisions. The subordinate have to no opportunity to make suggestions or take part in decision making functions. They are compelled to obey the order. In this style, leaders think that the workers are paid for their work, then they have to work without any suggestions. The autocratic leadership have some limitations. In autocratic leadership, subordinates have a tendency to avoid responsibility. They think that the main responsibility is of their leader. Second one is frustration, low moral, and conflict develop. In autocratic leadership, the members feel frustrations and low moral, or ultimately this result in conflict development. Third one is new ideas or creative ideas of the followers cannot be applied. The autocratic leadership style is suitable in the following situations only: when the subordinates are incompetent and inexperienced, and the leader is highly competent for making a right decision. Next is democratic or participative style. It is just opposite the autocratic style. The leader takes decision in consultation with the subordinates. Participation in decision making enables subordinates to satisfy their social and ego needs. It also makes them more committed to their organizations. The study shows that when the people are participate in decision making, then they become dynamic and feel that this is their own project and they want to make it success. There are some advantages of democratic leadership. Subordinates can develop their potential abilities and assume greater responsibility. Second one is it provides job satisfaction and improves morale of subordinates. And third one is they are aware of the activities of the organizations. And some are also limitations of democratic leadership. First one is decision making is time consuming process because to make consciousness in different kinds of people, it is very hard work because they have their different opinions about the decisions. So decision making is time consuming process in democratic leadership. Followers can dominate the leader and it requires communication skills on the part of the leader. And third one is the laissez-faire style. In laissez-faire style, the leader leaves decision making to the subordinates. They enjoy full freedom to decide as and what they like. The biggest limitation of this style of leadership is that due to full freedom of the subordinate, it creates mismanagement in decision making. Now we will discuss about the types of leaders. In Indian conditions, the following types of leaders are generally found. First one is traditional leaders. They emerge out of tradition and stick to traditions. Traditional leadership operating in rural areas stands for the old values and institutions and satisfy various traditional needs of the society. They don't accept change. They have vested interest and have the fear that change may overthrow them from power position. Second one is the caste leaders. Followers belong to the same caste as that of the leader. The leader provides leadership in matter relating to the caste. Third one is religious leader. They become leader by preaching religious doctrine or performing religious act or rituals. They are advised followers on religious matters. Example, Pandit, Pujari, Maulvi, Padri, etc. Fourth one is political leaders. At present, they are the most important leader both in rural and urban society. They arise out of political system. In democratic countries, political leaders can exert influence on the mass people. Example, MLA, MP, Chief Minister, etc. Fifth one is the functional leader. They are recognized as leader because of their specialized knowledge and functions in the society. Example, headmaster of a school, doctors, agriculture supervisor, etc. And sixth one is the opinion leaders. These are the persons to whom people go for opinion and advice on certain issues. Opinion leaders also act as legitimizer and influence decision making of the opinion seekers. The opinion leaders have more formal education, higher socio-economic status, more social participation, and more exposure to mass media. They diffuse media message to the members of the society and often counter the possible impact of unfavorable propaganda. Now we will discuss about the importance of rural leadership. Leadership plays an important role in shaping the social, political, and economic life of rural communities. Leadership plays different roles or importance in rural areas. First is one is mobilization of rural mass. Rural people are generally an unorganized mass. Rural leadership can organize the rural people to achieve their common objective. Empowerment of rural women. Rural leadership can easily motivate women folk to form self-help group to generate their employment and income, which enable them empowered in the society economically and socially. Bringing awareness about the development programs. Since independence, the central and state government had launched so many development programs and projects which may not be always known to the common people. Rural leadership act as a channel through which information on development programs are reached to the proper section of the society, bridging the gulf between the bureaucracy and common people. Rural people, particularly the weaker section of the society, are generally reluctant to meet with the bureaucratic elite like block development officer, subdivisional officers. But the emergence of democratic rural leadership helped common men to reach the officers to raise their problems and for suggestions. So these are the importance of leadership in extension education. Thank you very much.